think of a sunlight in the day and a moonlight in the night. Fishes are dancing in the rivers rolling by. There is still a blue sky until another baby cry. I wonder why some people sigh. Oh yeah, life goes on. Oh yeah, oh yeah, Just think of a sunlight in the day and a moonlight in the night. Fishes are dancing in the rivers rolling by. There is still a blue sky until another baby cry. I wonder why some people sigh. Oh yeah, life goes on. Life goes on, life goes on, 'cause every day another baby's born. No. Another loving to be defined, sweet, sweet memories on my mind. We gotta take some time, cease from war, the killing and crime. Life goes on. Life goes on, life goes on, 'cause every day another baby's born. Oh well, just think of the life that you can live.
For you all live.
Go ahead, wait. Hey you! Hey you over there! You! Hey you sir!
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just think of a sunlight in the day and a moonlight in the night. Fishes are dancing in the rivers rolling by. There is still a blue sky until another baby cry. I wonder why some people sigh. Oh yeah, life goes on. Life goes on, life goes on, 'cause every day another baby's born. No. Another loving to be defined, sweet, sweet memories on my mind. We gotta take some time, cease from war, the killing and crime. Life goes on. Life goes on, life goes on, 'cause every day another baby's born. Oh well, just think of the life that you can live and the things that you can give. Remember every day to think positive and live. Life goes on. Life goes on, life goes on, 'cause every day another baby's born. Oh well, and if you don't have the money to go to the party, and even if you can't afford the latest style, for every good thing in life gotta take some time. Life goes on. Life goes on, life goes on, 'cause every day another baby's born. Love is the moon, love is the star. Yes, love is all.
Yes, greetings with the radio reflection. Why, what a sin thing take place here in England. Conservative sack of election? No. Them other thing called in-house competition. And so many people opt out and very few opt in. And then it came down to 2. And everybody was saying hip hip hooray and hurrah, because a lady was voted in. And then she started dress and carry herself like Maggie. Hey. So the bell was rung, and one went to America, and well before him land, he was on his way back. And right as he returned back, he was gone. Ouch! What a strange something. Then all of a sudden the deck of cards or dominoes start fall back and spin round. And the said people who shuffle and chose this person become disgruntled and very unhappy, and then start threatening the own party. Could you imagine? Yeah, 40 something days. And that was the end of that. And if she was Maggie, she would have grabbed all of her handbag and hold on to it strong. But she just said, "Cha, make me go along." And that is that. And they have another party. I wonder what the hell is going on. Because these people keep doing in-house election and in-house voting. But you know what? All these people took part at the party that the other person was forced to step off to. So the whole country is supposed to say, yo, you see, them people that need purging. But them not say that. Them just let everything go on. A strange thing that, you know, strange. And then black people, they must say, yo, we are British. Who you vote for? Go on, spin yourself. And see if somebody going to tell you, say, racism done. Instead of having cartoon lions, you're going to have some real lions. I tell you, man. Yes, anyway. What did I tell you when I say that we step upon things that we were doing that was not right. And may even forget Roddy at the time, you know, and Black Slate and Clive. The whole man them, you know. And me say, we didn't make a tune, you know, because reggae music has a wide, the root, the trunk, and the branches. So many branches, you know. So, I want to tickle your memory back down that lane there. Come, Roddy. Yes, Elroy. So you see, the point I was making still, you know, is that we wasn't sitting and moving in this cold climate and these disrespectful human beings and then embrace their thing, why we lose our sanity? You understand? We tripped up. And many of our workers, them in welfare and social work and in education, recognize these things and spoke about it to us, not to them, to the system. And then Monday decided that something has to be said and it has to go far. So a music, a song was created. And then we had cool down your temper because again, due to abuse and so forth. And then we took that a little bit far. It's not that it wasn't against us, it was against us. And then we start represent ourselves. You know? And that's like things start boil over. And there were riots and all kind of something. But in some districts or community across England, it wasn't burn down and turn over car. It's a different energy. So the tune, cool down your temper, youth man, come out, was made. And that went in all the clubs, them, all the sound system. Nobody, the artist never riff all that song from sound systems. I want every sound system to be playing that music. Because them just never want the British authorities and forces to stamp on us very strong, stronger than what they were doing. There were so many reasons. There's so many reasons. Because you had the threat from Enoch Powell, the same conservative, and him a try show them, say, like a preacher, him a predict rivers of blood and everything. And you had the fascists and all these different movements. And all of them was collaborating with each other. You know? So from afar, reggae artists them get to feel that vibes. And some of them who was coming in and out of England and say, yo, we can't make with people them suffer, so. Something a come. So cool down your temper, youth man. Come on the street. And also a song like Blacker Kill Black. To prevent that, it wasn't something that was prominent. It was to highlight what could happen because we have some turncoats. People that believe, say, if they mass with certain set of people, them all right, them can live a Finchley or can live a West Hampstead, Hampstead Heath, and yo, I tell you. And if they don't want to live them places there, them can have money in them pocket. Them can go put their name on some paper and get an account. So there was a lot of things. Lot of things. And reggae artists and reggae music highlight some of those things to say, yo, behave yourselves. A communication, information. So, yeah, badness, no rush me.
Yes. Whoa, 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 yeah. You can't come rush me, no badness, 'cause me not deal with it. You can't come rush me, no badness, 'cause me not defend that. Any boy, me not check for, me not go deal with that. Any girl, me not check for, me not go chat to them. You can't come rush me, no badness, 'cause me not deal with it. You can't come rush me, no badness, no. Coming out defending. I was born and raised in the ghetto, and I have lived to see many bad guys fall. So you can't come rush me, no badness, no. Coming out deal with it. You can't come rush me, no badness, 'cause me a Rasta man, and I've got a whole lot of plans for me and my family. So you can't come rush me, no badness, no. Coming out deal with it. You can't come rush me, no badness, no. Coming out defending. I am a Rasta man, and I've got a lot of plans for me and my family and my brethren. You can't come rush me, no badness, 'cause me born and raised in it.
See, say you listen them lyrics, say you talk about a one family and so forth, right? Because we're family people. We couldn't exist if there wasn't a family. I mean, let's be sensible on that point. And to recognize what is decent and, and so forth. So it was in a situation where somebody could turn around and said, it's about time things changed. Them kind of lyrics, they're too tight. We needed to slack. No, it's not that at all. It's people outside of us. You understand? That would talk like that and make suggestions like that. Right? So the point is, why then would we listen? Or why should we? And why have we listened and toward that line of people outside of ourselves that want decadence and so forth? It's money, it's fueled by money, and some lustful set of people, us, that see the money and forget about and park up the morals and park up the dignity and dash away responsibility. And then they become incredible but not credible for us anymore. But true, they belong to us. Them know how to style it through image and certain little talk here and there. And even though we're here, you know, we're squeeze with ears, or we're squeeze with mouth, because when I say, yeah, what that you say? And boycott them sounds and make sure no promoter book them and so on. So where does this callousness come from? This don't care. This disconnection from the black culture, the black understanding. And it's not everybody was an activist, so what happened to it? Where did it go? I mean, how did that get depleted, sir? And it's the hustle for money. I want to be important. And the only way them see themselves being important is among white people. And there's nothing wrong with working with white people, you know. But you can't follow their ways. Their ways is theirs, and ours is ours. And after all, we're the children of the slave. We started out with nothing, and we still have nothing but ourselves. That's it. Everything that we call our culture right here now is the evolution of ourselves. When I watched some program yesterday, or last night, and it reflected, I pointed out us being here in England, arriving in 1940 something, 49, 45 or 49, and so on. It not highlight no rain rush. It a highlight us being here, helping this government, this royal family, the whole British institution to rebuild their infrastructure. Us, African Caribbean people. And it also reflected upon and showed how many hundreds of us were treated by the general population of this country. And those were the people them who were brought here, but they weren't given the documentation for the jobs them that they want them to do. Them give a paper to go to this and that office, but they never give a paper and everything, or send a scout to carry us into some lodgings. So you see, when like me, you know, see that know about that, I am saying, you see me try to tell you, no? And when I rush off in the other direction, and now this something here happen, and now what's gonna happen among us? Everybody gonna have a different take on it. And this body gonna say, yo, the people that make up that man. I lie them, I tell them, I mix up the something. Now, if that reasoning don't have relatives and families still with us, that would have a lot of mental disparity. So I call and text and tweet a lot of people and say, yo, tune into this channel. And if you miss it, get your children and forget upon the computer and park it up so you can watch it again. You can get to see the whole thing and so forth and so forth. Because England is an educational system. Education, information. Yeah, this is England, you know. I saw them stay a lot. The sectors them is vast. You know, see the people that go around and dig up people, them cops. There's no other people in the world but it's white people that do that, you know. I was digging up the dead Yes. And then go take the people them relics and everything and put them in their museums and then write book like see them know the people them so well and tell their own fables and so forth. So anyway, that is what took place there. And it also showed how things, because in welfare services and youth services and so forth, when a person attend them college there for do them degree and so on, all those things come up, and different clips are given to different sectors, different groups of the students that are doing the same course, And we finish up with different analysis because them give us a different take. And by the time we get to know those something, it's when we set up a working party among ourselves and see and withdraw ourselves from the general attendance of that course. And then have a black consortium so we can discuss things. And then we realize these things, And our duty then was to inform the next 2-year groups that come and then make it a national habit to inform others when they approach these type of courses, what to look for and how to position themselves. Not to cheat the course, how to look at the information and know that the people and put you in different groups to get a different response, a different reaction, and so forth. I grew with that, and I was part of that. Let me see how this man here, Gus from Coventry, from Grenada, attack. Yeah, people, if we're not going to listen, how he spoke in this something here, the clips that them used to project within what them put out there yesterday. Him not talk to we. He's talking to the education secretary. Him talking to race relation. Him talk to the Metropolitan Police. Him talk to the system. This is what we call ranking file Rufuses. Because them look like we, and them know how to massage our egos when they are in front of us. But the biggest role, and the one that they want, is to be with that man. They want to comply, they're willing to comply, and they want to be acknowledged and accepted. So, go look at the program then. I tell you, and don't get hype up and say, yo, because you see, when a person get titles and everything, sir this, and professor that, and doctor this, you need to go say, yo, what did you do to attain such titles? And then and the one that got sir something, then bow to Elizabeth. And them could have staged the thing with one of them Stringfellow friend. By George friend. And them get nominated. And before you know it, them get knighted. Them get a CB or something, so. Yes. And then the rest of the people, them that feel say that that's the way to go to be accepted, then want to get into that group, which becomes a class distinctive group of people. And the system would only speak to that sector of people. And then those same people would introduce them and call certain names within certain communities to say, well, that's the right person or persons to go and sit with. And I can make the link for you. And then they will come into Brixton, and so forth, and fish us out and then go one of the barber shop them, or one of the rundown shop, and start talk, and then find a place like Moonshot and set it up with ITV and so forth. And that's how them introduced Trevor Phillips. And next thing you know, we are sit down and talk with them and them extract from these conversation what is fitting for them. And then when we check now, we didn't realize how the hell we get there. What was it all about, Alfie? I saw them used to trick we. So one of my teacher them, him used to say, let's not fool ourselves. Yeah. And them go all across England, all up to the same Coventry there, Manchester, Birmingham, Derby, Nottingham, all them places there, and drop these lyrics. Let's not fool ourselves. To prohibit them Rufuses from holding ground. That same man they turned around and said, because people them they are my side, my uncle and his team and other people them gather up to come to London and support us with the New Cross massacre. And the man say, as to say to the people them, with the connection that these people them have, that's why they might behave this way in my side. And I lie, my side everywhere was being constrained and brutalized. So today we call it network, but yesterday we reach out. Long time, we don't wait for the blasted internet to tell about networking. We reach out long blow all time as youth and youth across this country. Things that we never had family that have integrity. And the man make it known when him come to England, Listen here, Star. That's why I say we have to have sections where people that sit down and we discuss us. When I work with somebody that says agenda, we look upon ourselves and what is taking place. But we're not in that summit. We let them people that talk to so-called white-collar people them, and they're saying they're talking on our behalf. And then and the same people that teach other people them, like us, how to go to City Hall and put an application together and get some funding, ring fence, them get all them words there, which does exist. And then these other set of young black entrepreneurs and educated set of people come out and them I run after the money, and I use good lyrics. But they're not in contact with grassroots. Because the minute them start them something there, them own a flat, or them take a mortgage on a flat. And if them not do that straight away, them a drive a nice vehicle and them can drive through central London, because them have enough money to keep pay the taxes when them across. What am I saying? Sell out Rufuses to develop a career. That's why we have so much youth in a boneyard, in a cemeteries. And many families are listening to promises, comfort to fools. Oh, we are going to try to do this and we are going to try to do that and we're speaking to such and such. And it goes on and on and on. But them words can't bring back that child. But they were supposed to prevent such from repeating itself. So we not strike and say, yo, enough is enough. we lose too many children, and the news every day are talk about knife crime, and they're labeling us as the knife crime criminals. Like we are the massive population of England. So this woman here now, she come and become prime minister, and she elect a friend of hers, a neighbor to be chancellor. And all the other people in her party, them put the Asian them up there, sir. Top class in a police, and we their police long blow all time too. But them give these people distinctive positions in home office, and the man don't even last a breeze. Him I forgot with them lick the bell. US, right across the pond. Him go there before her. Go meet president. Our president come, listen here, man. And he was gone. What you call it? The inability. Not that him don't have education, not that he doesn't know the role to which he's been trained for and he selected himself to do. He had great aspirations, intentions. No, and the suits and the people that he ground with. Him have all that. But was the job too big for him? Was he given the support that is definitely needed to have to run such an administration? Come on, people. Where take this thing for? Every day them talk about dictatorship in other people in country. You don't think so them have dictatorship enough for them own country too? And this man was grinning from ear to ear when the woman called him to number 10. Now, when he left there, did anybody see him? All I'm highlighting is how wicked and terrible the people them is. And when my mother said cockroach don't have no business in a foul pen. Cockroach. So all of our people that feel say, yo, it's not that me live here, that this is my home, this is my country, rare. When I want to think again, man, we gotta stop dreaming. Stop dreaming. And that dream is a nightmare dream, because it would never, ever attain any prominence. Or you can adopt somebody else's country in your brain. Them not adopting you. Did I just say that correctly? You can adopt someone else's country in our own brains, you know. But they are not adopting you, us, or whoever. No, it doesn't work, sir. It can't work, sir. You can mentally adopt them, yeah. Nothing to stop you from feeling, say, yo, you know what, I'm as American, you know, or I'm British, you know, and so forth. And when they turn around and goes, oi, get out of here. What are you going to turn around and say? The most you can say is, where do I go? And they'll tell you straight, back on that banana boat. They don't even say banana ship. They will love to think that the thing capsized. You're a joke, man. And we have a whole heap of these type of people, you know, among us. That's why we're not advancing. That's why information that we get, we not work with it. That's why the integrity that we're supposed to have, we not work with it. It's being suppressed. But we have to give thanks to one sister, I have to call her name a little more, that wake up from with mama and papa and say, yo, we want African history being taught or being put within the curriculum, the national curriculum. Now, these things were tried in the 60s. Oh, yes, 60s. And push into the 70s. When we there knock hard on the door of race relation. Yes. Before Tasha come and depleted a lot of offices that we have already knocked on their doors, and we're sitting comfortably within those chambers and discussing not what is affecting us, but what our needs are for tomorrow's children, which is our children. Yeah, you think it's a joke? I'm an old folk. I'm an old soldier. I'm an old ambassador for the rights of passage. Yes. And those who know Jabones, RUZ, all of us was on the trot. He made a sound system called City Dread, just to make some of you remember that did know already and say, yo, are you there speak the church? And oh gosh, man. Hold this sound here.
Oh! I saw you on labor. Go ahead, wait. Hey, you. Hey, you over there. You. Hey, you, sir.
You see what happened? I can juggle between a lot of things, you know. And another set of people can come just juggle sound system and shebeen. Yes, listen to them all across London. Them juggle sound systems and shebeen. And on top of the shebeen, them a talk about man them that started to behave bad. And then them get labeled to be bad man. Not one of them can talk about roadie. Them always talk about them friend or somebody them know that slice somebody face up. Or who used to run some dirty cellar. And I sell some dry flour. And oil fish, greasy fish, and a whole heap of beers, enough alcohol. And I throw women from corner to pillow to post. Black and white woman. Yeah, joke, man. Zin, I know that same set of people are them friend them, and perhaps even them children, all them can do now is talk sound system. Like we don't have no education or educated people, and we don't contribute, develop anything for ourselves. As human beings, man, mortal human beings that have excellence and see ourselves as beautiful and excellent people in this earth, not London, not Birmingham, not Bristol, not Wolverhampton, in this earth. And that is the next problem. And then you have a lot of people get excited by all of that bullshit. And not realizing that all these people are doing a big up for them friend and the nasty life that them develop in shebeens. In places that we call shebeens. Dirty places. Bad and raw-minded set of people. What kind of establishment is that? And they have one and two of them come to our places and then want to turn around and tell the people them say the structure that them had, they were dictators really. Them have for them own view. And they don't want nobody to have another view. But them same people become poets. Some of them become writers. Yes. And some of them learn to read extensively. Because what? We import literature from Africa and the Caribbean. And you have a lot of black shows that come on TV. Hey, them come out of Islington, you know. The writers, the creators, everything come off of our centers. And some of them people that before them leave this earth, they want to start speak the truth. Speak the truth. I met the young people them have a foundation that you was part of. No matter how trivial, it's still a foundation. It belongs to us. And by now they would have grown to respect it, honor it, and have some dignity and pride. But no, they might want to be three lions. And so the people them spit upon them and call them things that them used to call us. And then when them not like it, the same FA tell them, say, yo, you can't leave that picture now. You are paid. You're employed by us. And we are saying to you, you cannot leave that pitch. So now some people them look upon America and see the people them drop a knee and it become a worldwide thing and cover it. And the British man say, yo, you know what? We have to follow the thing now. We don't want to stand out. And then follow it and then them say, yo, we have enough of that now. But you see, our African brothers, the 100% African brothers from the continent, you see in Europe, when them here even know somebody call them something, in a them language they that, them walk off the pitch. It's we who want to be and understand, trying to understand the African culture and dignity and morality. We're told here by our white father from the plantation, you cannot do this and you cannot. But the reason that could happen is because we have a whole heap of Rufuses that endorse what those people want. They endorse what they want and pretend that they're on this side, and they're not. So then we turn around and say, you know what, I'm a job, you know. So if me follow you, who will pay me? You see someone like me? I say, so when they're at school, the only thing you could have do is play football. It's only football you could have kick. And basketball you could have throw. So where you spend all of that time doing? Just that? Hey, take the ear out to the ratty two ball them, and there's nothing. The ball cannot do anything without you. So to hell with the ball. Are your brain, are your body, are your family, you have to honor. And that how me work my things with young people and even elderly people today. Yeah, Marcia, what you grin about? A serious thing we are talking, you're grinning. Nah, what you say? It's not grin, we are grin. It's cry, you cry. Okay. You try to stop yourself from crying. Me mama, love you bad, bad, bad. May the Lord God Almighty bless your soul.
Shoo-be-doo, 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 shoo-be-doo. Have you ever?
Self-esteem, I have too much of it. Experience life, man. Talk for yourselves. Because there's people out there who say, yo, you see them things, see them people like them, that's why we're not getting nowhere. I lie, I tell. And then the people like me, that's why we're not getting nowhere. Are people like them you talk about why we still in a shit. That's why. Because you have Rufuses, a roast breadfruit, and coconut among us. And when I call them out and fix them up and make them know say, that's not the way to go. You understand? And you people them talk about oh your honor ancestors. Our ancestors them get raped, abused, burnt, kicked, hang. Huh? And you're gonna talk about come and say, oh, Elizabeth, you know we love you. Stop your strippiness, man. Seriously. When you see shit, you're supposed to avoid it. You're not supposed to go indulge in it. Why, you're a pig? Gee whiz, did I say that? Why? Pig plain shit, man. You can wash a pig all you want. You can turn around until you say, you're an idiot, and go roll over back in the dirt and the shit. Huh? And then you wash him off again, and then just look for him and go, you fool. Come. Man called Crucial Harris Sunday. Yeah. James Travel VCA selection I do play. Remember, quiet ass.
Shoo-be-doo.
Long time.
Shoo-be-doo.
Pull off.
Shoo-be-doo. Shoo-be-doo. Have you ever? Have you ever?
People.
Have you ever?
Been in love.
Been in love? Have you ever?
Harris.
Have you ever?
Sleepy Coolie.
Have
And
you ever been in love before?
Yo, Brother Azim, you gotta link me, you know. Brother Azim, salam alaikum. You have to link me, man. Yes, I best this. Eh? New Jersey. Me mama.
Shoo-be-doo. Shoo-be-doo. Shoo-be-doo.
Man called Crucial Harris Andy.
Shoo-be-doo.
Sleepy.
Have you ever? Have you ever? Have you ever been in love? Have you ever? Have you ever? Have you ever been in love before?
Right.
To be in love is not a crime. If you're not in love with someone, you're wasting your time. Got a note from my woman the other day. Got to return home, come what may. Do-be-doo. You're my sugar. You're my sugar. You're my honey. Baby, have you ever? Have you ever? Have you ever?
So we are look on the Black History thing. You know, say that a mission statement is part and parcel of the initial documentation that have to be submitted to the educational department, and then when it look good, you know, you get a blue paper and everything, gone to the educational secretary and so forth. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? It's times like this now where people are going to try to say, well, we are talking about African history. They might probably want to say they want to talk about an aspect of colonial British, the British part of it and so forth. So then people be talking about England and Brixton Riot and Nottingham and Wolverhampton and Derby and then London and so forth. See? So that's it. I mean, these things are very important. Not those things that happen, you know. But it's very important. Oh, we are looking upon there's something here. Because we don't want to say British black history. We want to say African history. Okay. Right? And then obviously the liberty of our experience, which is racism, has to come into that category. You understand? Racism, you know, right? Is what I just highlighted. That's part of the history of our existence within the British colonial sectors, right? And even the experience of us being, you know, of us living here, but existing in England, or were brought to England. You understand? So when I'm going to try to do now is chop the thing up and ask different, depends on our areas them and our informed, well-educated, without the Rufuses and the roast breadfruit in attendance, how we approach this something here. Nothing will just be about slavery and about Brixton and about Nottingham, because this is where there were riots and everything, and these people will deal with that, and they will want the ones that more go for social services and youth and community and so forth, training and sociology and so forth to pick. So that's the mission statement. So the aims, no. We cannot let the aims be on how we perceive that stop and search stop and search did, because everything's going to be in line with the brutality, but that brutality is based on how we reacted, not how we were inflicted, how the pressures and pain and the disrespect were inflicted upon us that caused this effect. There got to be a cause and an effect, not an effect and a cause. Serious thing. So if there's an effect to the cause, it's a racial thing. It's a victimizational thing. And we won't be able to steer that ship, you know, because it cannot work like that. It's this system here that's saying we will accept a segment of you within. Because Britain do not promote or teach anything to do with African history, period. So those people who want to assimilate and believe, say, that this is them homing and 3 lines, you know what I mean? And I've got this somebody playing football. Listen, stop your foolishness. Let's be real, man. Right? So, and don't let nobody come tell you, say, once you get through the door, you can fix all of that, because no, you won't. Because those things will happen, and it will go into primary school, and that was, and they will see how it works there. And unlike us evaluating things, assessing and evaluating things, looking at the progression of things, they will be doing that. And we don't really want them to go that far there, because you know what they will do? They will just steamroll the thing and just put music again. And a whole heap of people, they will feel good because them say, yo, you know what, we don't have to work, you know. You know how much old vintage songs we have, and we can talk for like 6 years on just 2 records, and our journey from My Boy Lollipop, and then it come right back to Bob Marley again. Like Bob Marley's the only damn person that ever sang or played instruments in reggae. There's a reason why that happens, but leave that alone. So we will help a lot of our children to become intellectual delinquents, because we are talking about social cohesion, and most colleges now and sixth form centers, them have a sound engineering section, them have a musical section, and that distracts our children 100%. Because he or she who is not kicking football and running is playing electro beats. They're not learning to play instruments, you know. They don't want them to be Bach and Beethoven and conductors of great symphonies. No, they do not. Huh? And there are people there who are telling them that don't look like us about ska, reggae, and so on. They have great archives, because remember, they have Richard Branson and with the other one and the big one with the Whalers, them, Blackwell and various others. And then you will see our girls, them, partially naked, and so on. And it will go on and on and on, because many people be looking like social entrepreneurs. Yes. And all them have to do is make one or two like Stormzy and a few others, but East Bright receive some image focus and maybe an award here and there to get the multitude to follow. Yes, I saw Britain works. If you never know, you're being told something. So it's a lot of work. And why so late in the day? Many of our elders are old and feeble, and many have passed. So the history, the experience is not within and around and about us. And he or she who hasn't, they're suffering with a thing where you lost your memory and so forth, right? And, you know, so we have a lot of history, but it's not recorded. A lot of veterans that are not able. By the time we wake up, God, what is time? How do you quantify and analyze time? So, this whole body of mine can only help my family. Seriously. And we all have to look and see and remember, when the Almighty send rain down, Him not send it on no one man or one woman or one family. It comes down and shower on this earth. But it's also significant that Him can send a shower of rain in a Brixton and none in a Peckham or Southeast London. Yeah, serious thing. It can send a shower of rain and hit the whole of the United Kingdom. And sometime, just Reading. You understand? Seriously, or Milton Keynes. Nowhere else. So if you think some man work that, think again. We are going. Cause I was juicing, and I just remember say it's Thursday and reflection, and I really would have loved to have that sister, and I'm trying to find her details, and I got to try again. Yes, the sister Blackman, and I hope this is Arthur Blackman family. I tell you, she asked for the whole. She has said that the history lesson should tell the whole truth, and she knows specifically that they will concentrate on England, not they as in we, but the British authorities. And she has said that they should tell the whole truth about the British Empire, such as Britain's role in the transatlantic slave trade, such as, right? Because she knows that then we'll condense that something there, just about the United Kingdom, you know. And then go talk about how they introduced cricket to the Caribbean and how they were sipping tea, and the flavors were so good, and then we had rum and so forth. This is the English, you understand? And before you know it, other children then be making love to England again and again, you know. And not one child except mine would stand up and said, "Excuse me, why do you have 3 lions on your shirt? You know, I'm not lions in England. You kidnap them too, just like our grandparents." And they would say, "Shut up, child." You understand? Seriously. And they're talking about a curriculum in Wales as well, you know, the whole of United Kingdom. So she pioneered something. Now you know what happened? It's not substance you require, no. Need good training. Because this is a marathon with some steeplechase objects along the path, hills and valleys, you know. Seriously. And when them feel so them extract enough out of us, they will turn around and say, "Well, let me try this," and then put it in primary school. You think so the people them stupid? It's right down there so that you indoctrinate the minds of people. Yeah? And what you give to college and secondary school is well tailor-made for that. Right? If any of us are paying attention and you see young children them at primary school. Young children them a play with them phone. The family them fool in the back foot. The family them a get the children them phone. The children a stand up, sit down on the bus, and I play them phone games and everything. And them know how to text this and that and that about who won the football match last night and who scored and rare and everything. Right? This is primary school, you know. Then them get to the school now and them parents them have to obey the rules them. And the children them start crying and make noise and everything because they want them phone. Huh? Mommy, I will switch it off and everything. Huh? Now some of the primary school them just say, yo, no phone is crossing this threshold. I tell you. Huh? So you got some children them that wicked and terrible in them brain, you know. You understand? By the time them get to the gate of the school, them switch it off to write it and put the phone in a them lunch bag. In a them lunch bag. See? Because when lunchtime coming, them got to activate that phone. Smart backside. You understand? So I have to write up a paper, you know, and make the education officers and everybody in my locality understand that these things are unacceptable. We have to nip that in the bud quick. But you have some families them that not realize what's happening around them, you know. Them just hug up them child and kiss up them child and everything. And the child will remonstrate and shout and scream and everything, you know. My dad don't do this and everything. And then flip the script and then the one turn around and said to the father, Mommy don't do this. Why you like, I'm not coming to school with you again. Hey, yo. And they're screaming and barking and everything. I'm telling you. So you know so that house lacking some stability. And you know what I mean? It's not a bad house, but it's not that house, the information, the conversations that go on in the house, it's not relevant to developing. You understand? So I play 2 more tunes and I'm gone, you know. So, Miss Blackman, I tell you, we will come back with that situation there because that's very, very important. And the University of the West Indies, all these institutions should be involved. It should be a group of people in England, you know, right? I sit down and talk to these people. All those people should be involved because them should do a skeleton image of a curriculum and how them see that developing, you know, and you know, what you call the thing? A pre-phase, yeah? And we can do that. We have to bring all our heads on board, you understand? So University of the West Indies and everything, along with a group here from England, and then our brothers and sisters, them cross the diaspora, and then the people them that keep talking forever and ever, some of them too, the Pan-Africanists and so forth, and then, yeah, then you need a committee to keep vetting this thing and watching it and surveying it and so on, you know. Yeah, you don't need to think, say, yo, them got it and left it, so, you know. Okay, people that turn around and say, yo, you see those people, they sold their own. Okay. And now there's a push like that taking place in America. And they're all over the internet. And they're having some serious lectures in Harvard and Yale and at Carolina. And so all these different university campuses. And the auditoriums are packed. A whole heap of whites in attendance. And who is delivering? Black people. A black people, you know. Yeah, joke star. Let's go.
Strip of the culture, living in a strange land, but by our laws we can't hide. Black, 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 black.
man knows so that spell that is entrapped in our consciousness with would be broken. So they use education on us, the theological education. So that's how we think, that's how we dream, and that's our vision. And then that was their theory, and then the practicality of that was not allowing us or taking us back to the Caribbean, because they brought the excellence of us from the Caribbean islands to assist them in rebuilding this place after their war. Okay, on the continent, the same thing work. Them split up, divide and rule, then split up the tribes, extract one set of people and give them khaki clothes and different set of clothes. I'm just using that because everybody know about the khaki, should know about the khaki clothes. They give them that, and on a bike, pencil, ruler, and so forth, and rubber, and exercise book, paper, to be able to go to their school. And they taught them all about the Jesus and everything else. But them taught them maths, geography, history, algebra, and so forth. Science and biology, right? They educated them. The other set of people is the generations are still struggling up to today, the evolution of time, because they live in adverse poverty and restricted from proper education. And they're still in huts and everything, because nothing was delivered in their vicinities. So you can see all of that, the remnants of those, that what I'm trying to display here, in the Caribbean. Little islands, that don't have 1 million or 2 or 3 million in population, have areas that is stricken with poverty and mosquito or the cabinet and so on, and rats are from rodents. In at this time, right here and now. So make someone come and say, no, lie I tell. Which lie? Where I tell lie from ourselves for? I'm not a roast breadfruit or a coconut. I'm not a hypocrite. The only hypocrisy is this, is that I'm on their airwaves. I must prefer to be in an auditorium that belongs to us, along with others, and our 5-minute voice along with other people if it was so necessary. You understand? Simple things. So it's we that have to take care of us. It's no doubt. Listen, go online and see Front Room. Explore Front Room and see with your own eyes, using your fingers, what we have to offer. And we're not part of no institution but ourselves, what we have to offer. And what we do offer on that facilities, that media facility, Front Room, African Caribbean trying to develop an international community that recognize the goodness of us. Huh? The goodness of us. And the links that we need to have and should have had with our African brothers and sisters, families on the continent. And our families, natural families and families in the Caribbean. Yes. So we behave proper and we support each other and prop up each other where necessary. You understand? And we remove all these mysticisms and these conjectures from ourselves. And we shape our reality. Because it is true what is said, know ye the truth and the truth will set you free. Because when you have that and you work within yourself, you have contentment. And your conscience don't hurt you. It don't ride you. A lot of people, them conscience, they ride them because them do so much wicked and terrible things already. So them just get a little Jeremy rhyme and work with it to make themselves appreciative among other people. And well them know say what am I try to do. But it's them conscience that hurt them. Now if we had a forum where people just come out and say, yo, you know what? In 1969, 1970, 1973, a them thing them used to run, you know. And I want to apologize. I want to apologize to the community to help me to change my ways. But I want to apologize to y'all. Yeah, I tell you. Anyhow, Marcia, I have to play a clip from my email and go switch back on my machine, you know, because oh, this is how me coming. And the woman, life goes on. Hold this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, Just think of a sunlight in the day and a moonlight in the night. Fishes are dancing in the rivers rolling by. There is still a blue sky until another baby cry. I wonder why some people sigh. Oh yeah, life goes on.
Yeah, you see Barris and them friend them, you know. They were all having a lovely party, yeah? Everybody. And these hypocrites that will want to tell us, oh, we are not towing the line of justice and human rights and everything. Huh? Right here, they did all of that in the COVID. Why they restricted people. I told people what to do and what not to do in relation to health advice and so forth. And because it was a state of fear and so forth, everybody did accordingly. And I couldn't understand a lot of things that happened. Not because I wanted to violate anything or I thought I knew something, but the people, they're football fanatics. And the football fans, they never said anything. They never even attempted a demonstration or anything like that. And then when there were 1 and 2 demonstrations, the law, the government, they had everything organized in such a way and a manner that you have to ask yourself if we're under some state state of emergency. Because even the armed forces were at hand, were on standby, and variant police forces were brought together to make sure that them had such power, frontal images of power. So when people look and see them say, yo, here what happened? This is not the normal thing, you know. And them just retreat. And then when people then went to the national areas where people voice them views and so forth, some segments that attended that thing were taken away, heavy-handed. But nobody was arrested that had these parties, not party, you know, parties. And they come on national media and lied. So when one of our sisters now was told that she needs to address that, and she never did it with the institutional decorum and following the protocol of the establishment, knowing very well that she be suspended and asked to leave. Now, who was she representing? I mean, she was 100% correct, but there's a ways and means of addressing those departments and presenting oneself. It wasn't in a fashion that helped us. It voided us. So you see what happened to that man there? Okay. Wake up. Now listen to my imam. Come my father.
Imam W.D. Muhammad is the head of a ministry called The Mosque Cares and the former leader of the American Society of Muslims. He spoke this weekend at the annual National Islamic Convention.
Thank you.
This is an hour.
We praise God. We praise God. We say God is greater. God is greater. We praise God with the expression, God is greater. Peace be unto you. The greetings of our religion in the Muslim world is Assalamu alaikum. I just saluted my captain. We always begin with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. We thank him for our presence here. We thank him for another convention in the city of Chicago at this pavilion. And we thank him for keeping our hearts and our minds in the right place. We thank him for giving us the courage to be different. Years ago, when it was very unpopular to be a Muslim in the city of Chicago, we thank him for making it possible for us to continue our life from a child's circumstances, from a little baby's circumstances, till today, when we have circumstances in these United States and in this Chicago favoring that little baby surviving and growing up to be a fine man with dignity and honor as a producer, contributing to the society and also to the Muslim life. This is what I see when I look back into the road of our strivings as a community of poor people under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And in 1975, February of 1975, I began the effort to carry you further into the road to our establishment. Bringing with us that was to live, and separating myself from that was to die. And I thank the Lord, creator of the skies and the earth and everything, and people, his special creation. I thank him for the good brothers and sisters who will never turn around and go back to the dark days. You know, I see shea butter as a basket put on the river. We're going to float it right down to Pharaoh's kingdom. And it's going to be picked up by the lady of the house. We have a lot to be happy about. We have a lot to feel good about. In fact, there's much more. In spite of the bad times that we're living, economically, politically, the political climate is not too good. In the world, I'm speaking of, not just in the United States. The political climate in the world is not good, bad. The economic climate here is not what most Americans can feel good about. We want it to get better. The moral climate here in America is terrible, terrible, very, very ugly. When we see our public behaving as though they never had any moral life in them ever. It's terrible. But we find that there's always a number of the people that are not taken down by the bad things that a bad time brings. There's a number always that won't give up their moral life, no matter how popular it is to give up your moral life. There are always those who are industrious by nature. They love work, and their souls call for work. And they will never be idle. They will never accept unemployment. They will work for themselves if their factory shuts down that they were working for. They will never be out of work. So God has made man special. God has made the human being very special. He cannot be destroyed by what man does, even though man, knowingly or unknowingly, may take up the plan of the Satan, the devil himself, and give the way of the devil freedom to take over the lives of families and neighborhoods by letting his schemes be established over our life or in our lives. But there are always a few Christians and others. I have known Christian neighborhoods, no liquor stores here, and they were so united that they were able to keep liquor stores out of their neighborhoods. They didn't want liquor stores because liquor stores bring other things that they don't want, and other people that they don't want, who care nothing about life, care nothing about civilization, care nothing about morality, and they didn't want that disease in their neighborhoods, in their Christian neighborhoods, so they organized and put enough pressure on the governments, on the town office to keep the church, to keep the community, the neighborhood for the church. Save it for the church and keep the taverns out. My heart goes to Christians like that. I'm with them. And I just hope that one day we will see the common good, the common interest for righteous people, for people fearing God and wanting their life to please their Lord, Creator. I'm hoping that the day will come when we will not see people struggling to save the environment for their life that they want. And we Muslims will look at them and, oh, those are Christians. No, we'll say those are our people. Those are people of our souls and people of our spirit. That's what I'm hoping for. We Muslim leaders, we talk about what we're supposed to do. We talk about we shouldn't allow liquors to be on our table. We should keep halal, word in Jewish for the Jews is kosher. We should keep our life halal, keep our homes halal, our food halal, keep all of this halal. But you see another person out there struggling to keep the neighborhood you live in, and you just two on the block. The neighborhood belongs to them, and you see them struggling to make it a decent neighborhood, and you just ignore what they're doing. You don't identify with their suffering, with their concerns. You don't identify with their work. You are not a part of it. You act as though you are from Jupiter or Mars or somewhere, and you just walk right by them and walk right away from what they're doing, as though it's forbidden for you to join the good work to make the place better for human life under God. We can't continue to do that. That won't work. The state of the world is not good at all. I believe we're living in the end of time. The end of time as prophesied. Not the end of time for the natural system created by God. Not the end of time for the sun that rises that we all know. Not the end of time for the night that comes and the day that comes. No, we will still have night and day. Not the end of time for trees and plants and other things and animals that we love and the rivers and whatever that we love and the beautiful life that grows upon the earth. Not the end of time for that. The end of time according to prophecy. The end of time for man to go away from the calling of his best nature. I repeat, the calling of his best nature, which is there because God made human beings for that best nature. God didn't make us for the foolishness. He didn't make us for the nasty life that some of us love to live. He made us for the best that is in human nature. And our religion stresses the best. God says to us in the Quran, he gives us the Quran. The Quran is a history. The Quran is a teaching, a guidance, but it is also history. So we will read about how other people lived when we read the Quran, those that were good and those that were not good. We read about the destruction of the corrupt ones. We read all of this. And if we are not careful while reading, if our appetites are corrupt, we'll be reading and thinking we are reading guidance, and we'll be reading warnings against pitfalls. And we'll be thinking we'll be reading guidance. We'll be reading of a people who are proud and boastful while doing wrong things. And we will lose the full picture, and we will think that God is saying that it's okay to be that way. I know persons who have fallen victim to that. They'll be reading something and think that's to be applied to Muslim life. Muslims are supposed to be like that, boasting. When if they would read it clearly and keep the connections, read it in the proper connections, read it with the proper connections and in the right context, they would clearly understand that this is not what God wants for us or for human beings. This is what God is condemning. And they take it and they become believers in what is not Islam, thinking that it is Islam. So God says to us in the Holy Book, speaking of, addressing the contents of the book, he said, and take the best thereof. Science says that life advances because it's selective. It doesn't feed on that will corrupt it, deform it, destroy it. It looks for the better food. And in selecting the better food, it continues to grow and develop. And it looks for the best environment. You think a bird will put its nest anywhere? It looks for the best environment. Even a low animal looks for a clean place to start a family. So selective. God speaks to our nature, the better nature in us, and says, and take the best thereof. God says of the Quran, the book has been made allegorical with metaphors, with pictures, with words that say one thing and make the common person see one thing, but it is addressing something entirely different. Something different, entirely different, but using these pictures to get our attention in hopes of us learning how to translate the pictures into the language that we are supposed to read and understand, for understanding. So God says, the book has been made allegorical and basic. Listen carefully, and basic. The basic teachings are the plain language teachings that any ordinary person with the ability to read or to listen to language and understand can understand. But the book is also allegorical, difficult to understand, even by educated people, if they are not experienced or used to hearing the language of Scripture. Experienced in or used to hearing the language of Scripture. So, and God continues, he says, and those in whose hearts is a disease, they prefer the allegorical over the plain teachings. That's why we have so much un-Islamic behavior in the Muslim world. We leave the common sense, plain teachings and take up that we think gives us the freedom to do wrong in the name of righteousness. When we look at the world, I'm a lover of nature. I travel a lot because of good situation I'm in as your leader. I've traveled a lot, plane, fly over mountains. So I see mountaintops that many people will never see from my neighborhood. I see mountaintops. And I love science, so I read about mountains too. There are mountains that are old and worn out. No place for the skiers to have their fun skiing on the icy tops, icy slopes, worn out. No vegetation growing on them, like a bald-headed old man. Nothing there to attract anybody. No water flowing down from the melting ice to form rivers, new rivers to attract animals and other life and make fertile basins or fertile land on each side of the river, like the river Nile that comes down from the mountains of Ethiopia and flow down and cut through the land, leaving a picture behind that resembles the form of a snake. No rivers. Most of the governments of the world today offer no spiritual support, no spiritual help to the soul and spirituality of their people. Don't think of the physical mountain out there somewhere in the geography of this earth, in Asia or Africa or somewhere in Europe. See this as a description of something that is in your own life, a mountain that is in your own makeup. And then look outside and see if you can find the world having something that you want, like that you want in yourself, established to serve people in the world. You know, water is a fascinating, very fascinating thing, water. Science describes it as H2O, gases that in a certain combination become liquid water. Hydrogen 2 gas, and I know because I'm a welder, I've used hydrogen and oxygen in my work. Hydrogen 2 and oxygen 1, H2O. Those two gases, the molecules of them, they come together and form what all life must have, water. And God says in the Quran, also in the Bible, in different language, maybe different words, maybe in different contexts too, but it's there. All life began in water. All life began in water. You know, human being is a very special flesh. A very special flesh belonging to the flesh that God made. Because God made the sheep flesh. God made the goat flesh and many other animals' flesh. And God made many low creatures' flesh, worms' flesh, huh? And he made us flesh. But we are very special flesh. When we are hurt, water comes down from our sky, from the mountain. Water comes down, it rolls down our cheek. And we don't have to be sad for water to come down. We can be so happy water come down from the eyes of the mountain and roll down our cheek. And God says in our Holy Quran, the same as in the Bible, again, maybe in a different context, different language, different context, but it's there. Said it is God that created you. It is your creator that created the sky and the earth and the trees and everything. The one that created you, he created you to have laughter and tears. God created you to have that. So if this is mentioned in Scripture, then it is mentioned because this is very special and unique for human beings, that we cry tears of sadness and tears of joy and tears of joy. Now, if no rivers are coming down from the mountain, what has happened? There's no feelings anymore. No rivers coming down, no feelings anymore. Allah says in the Quran, and there are some rocks that are shaken, and they open a split and release water. Water comes from them. Rock, hard thing. So when our leadership, our leaders and our leadership become so hardened that they can't feel the suffering of the society, can't respond to the needs of the suffering souls in the society. They have become dried up, maybe, like that bald-headed mountain I saw from the plane. Or maybe there is water, but it's just kept up in the top of the mountain. It has hardened, and nothing has heated it up. But we know people like Dr. King, many before him and after him, they had the power to speak and warm up the climate, cause the ice to melt in the government, in the top of the mountain, and roll down as rivers so we can have new life and beauty on the land. Yes, we know that. Yes. Allahu Akbar. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Are you hearing me all right out there? What about back in all the way back? Yes. Yes, they're hearing. I have almost as many years as he is old experience talking into mics. Praise be to God. Now, why is water so important in religion? I've mentioned already that God says every living thing had its beginning in water. And we know it's important to the church. In the church rituals, the water is important to Muslims in our worship, and especially on the Hajj, the yearly trip we make to the holy house, the common house of all people, called Bayt al-Ula, or Bayt, the first house built for mankind in the worship of God. It's not talking about the water we drink. The water we drink is just a symbol, a picture, a sign of the water in our own human makeup, in our psyche, in the human soul and psyche, in the human feelings and concerns. That's the water. That's the real water. That's the real water, you see. And just as water makes us feel better, even spiritually, when we are sweaty or dirty, and we get into that shower, and that water begins to work on that filth and sweat, oh, you feel so good, you run the water bill up. Don't want to come out of the shower. So God has created the world without to speak to us of the world within. And the world without is the sign. The world within is the real life. And God has made the world without to support the good life we want within, as long as it doesn't become corrupt or too polluted or too confused, getting away from the laws that God intended. It serves us well. We're living in a time, I said, that I believe to be the time of the fulfillment of prophecy. God says, and to you, and to me, pardon me, he says, and to me, you all must return. That's what God says. He says he created us from one soul. That means we had one spiritual origin. One spiritual origin. We come from one spiritual life, our Father. And we all are one in that spiritual life. And we may choose to go against that spiritual life that God intended for us. And we may take on spirits that will be working against the true human spirit that God created for us. But God said, and you'll go your separate ways, and you will make your problems for each other. But one day, you all have to return. Now, looking again at water as a symbol or as a message to us of what's in the soul or psyche of a human person. The water in the mountaintops, I'm a student of science too. I love science. I'm not a scientist. I think I might be a little bit, somewhat of a scientist. But I know I'm a student of science. I've loved it ever since I learned. I read the first book or had the teacher tell me the first thing about science. I loved it. I've been a student of science. So anyway, I've learned that rivers come from mountaintops. Would you think that? You wouldn't think that. Science have to tell us these things, or someone who have experienced going up in the mountains and been around the mountain enough to see what happens would tell us those things, could tell us those things. The ice in the top of the mountain, when it melts, it runs down the mountain and it forms rivers. The Nile River, as I mentioned earlier, is formed in a high mountain in Ethiopia. And the water comes down, I don't know, it's just millions of years old. We don't know how old it is, you know. Formed the river called the River Nile, which is said to be the longest river on earth. And that river is two colors according to the African people. Ethiopian people, I think it's white. And I believe, or blue, I'm not sure. But when it passes through Egypt, it's a different color. I believe the white Nile is from Ethiopia and the blue Nile is Egypt. I'm not sure of the color now. But I'm sure that there are two colors. They call it white Nile and blue Nile. Longest river on the earth. And the whole Egyptian people, were dependent on the Nile for their economy, their food supply, and their economy. Because the Nile would bring fertile earth from other places, at the same time giving the land water, keeping the land watered from other places, and the river runs, so the river washes the fertile soil to both sides. and keeps the land fed with the water so that more things can grow along the banks of the Nile. And the river alone, as I said, supplied them with food, produce, enough to sustain their life. And at one time, according to biblical history, at one time Egypt was the breadbasket for the whole world, for the whole known world. That people came from all over. And the story of Joseph tells us that. Joseph was sold into slavery by his own people, his own brothers. And we end up being discovered by the rulers that he was there. They discovered him because the word was getting around that Joseph was a seer. He could see the future. So the country was beginning to enjoy a bad time, was being threatened, and the Pharaoh wanted to bring him up, the ruler, bring him up to him and talk to him and see what he thought of what was happening to his rule. So he liked him so well, he took him in, and the Pharaoh's wife, the big lady, fell in love with him. They put him over the storehouses. They put him in charge of the distribution of food and goods. So that tells us that at one time, according to Scripture, Egypt had become so productive in food products and other things too, that people were coming from distant lands in hopes of getting some food or some help from Egypt. Now, you know, America is like a modern Egypt. Yes. It has this high mountain, and it has its Nile River, and it has this Joseph, sold into slavery. And today, Joseph is about to be put over the storehouse. And he's going to be kind to his brothers who sold him into slavery. When the brothers of Joseph came in bad times to Egypt that was doing well to get some rations, some help, when they saw Joseph, they thought, oh, it's hopeless now. Egypt got him over the storehouse. We sold him into slavery. But they found him to be just what they didn't expect. They found him to be a brother, didn't charge his suffering brothers with the crimes. He ignored the crime. He put that crime aside, and he gave them help. Wonderful story, a beautiful story. But it's not just a story of Jews or of Arabs or of African Americans or blacks. It's the story of every people who suffers such thing occurring in the life of that people to make them slaves or helpless in the society of other people. Physical slavery made us helpless like that. But after we were physically freed, mental, as Mr. Farad said, mental slavery or mental death put us in a bad situation like that, where we could not make it on our own, stayed down, couldn't get up, even though a few of us had the strength to try to get up and did get up. Majority of us did everything to see that they failed, that they did not succeed. That's because mentally we are dead. Not dead, not dead. Your mind works to know what time it is when you wake up in the morning, to look at the clock or look out the window and say, hey, sun has gotten up, you know. You're not dead to those kind of things. You can function that way. But when it comes to knowing where your heart should be, you're dead. When you go out of your house and leave your wife, I don't care if she fuss at you every time you come in the house. You go out of the house and leave your wife with children that need your presence. And you turn your back on the wife and the house of children because of sexual desire for another woman that you met. Your heart is dead. Your heart is dead to the social life, the family life that God made for you. Your heart is dead to it. When you walk out of your neighborhood that ain't got a African-American business anywhere in sight, and you drive your car 5 gallons of gas away from your neighborhood, 5 gallons of gas away from your neighborhood, way to the northwest side somewhere, to some white person's store, or a store operated by another people, not your people, your heart is dead. Now, there is in the Bible, says, as a man thinketh in his heart. As a man thinketh in his heart. So we shouldn't just think with our rational ability. If you want to think as a human should be thinking, you should be thinking with your moral life in touch with what you're thinking. With your moral life sensitivities in touch with your thinking. You should be thinking with your human interests in touch with your thoughts. You should be thinking with your wife and your children interests at heart. So much at heart that if you think something against their interests, it reaches your mind. This is natural life. And it tells your mind, don't do that. That'll hurt the family. So when we say of people mentally dead, we don't mean that they don't have a mind to go and work for McDonald's. They can go and work for McDonald's. What McDonald's got for them to do is they can do it. But when it comes to keeping a human spirit at home and human love at home and making sacrifices to keep the life at home good, they don't have any life to do that. They're dead to that. We are here in this place right now and hope to be here again next year this time. And we are working in during the week, during the months and the year in many places. Why? What is our main reason? Oh, we are Muslims. That ain't enough. That ain't enough. God says that he made us, formed us in the stomachs of our mothers. Now, I know you can get very technical, which some of you like to do. But what we see is the stomach of our mothers growing. That's what we see. We don't see that technical explanation you want to give me right now. We see this mama's stomach getting bigger and bigger, okay? And when the baby is delivered, we see the mama's stomach go back to normal, not big anymore. God says he made us, formed us in the stomachs of our mothers. And he made our pictures most beautiful, beautiful. Made us beautiful. And God says again that he is the one who made our picture single picture, not plural picture, not more than one picture, because all of us have our individual pictures. We have our racial pictures, we have our individual pictures. And God says he made our picture single picture, and he made it the most excellent. What is that? What is that saying to us? That you should not be thinking about your identity as a race and thinking that's more important than your identity as a human being. The single picture that God made of us is that he made us all human. Science, in order for it to study, treat, and improve upon human life condition, medical science or whatever, they don't send us to school to study a white man's life or a black man's life. They send us to school or teach us what is a human life, what is a human anatomy, what is human skin, what is human hair, what is human bone, what is human blood, etc. So in order for science to treat the body and help the body be healthy or overcome a disease or a fault or some kind of problem, it has to identify the body as the human body, the system as the human system, etc. It's no different for spiritual world, for the spiritual world. If we want to treat the spiritual ills of ourselves and of the whole world, we got to look not at racial pictures, not at national pictures, not at ethnic pictures. We have to keep before us the human picture. African American leadership, church, and wherever you are, government or wherever you are, you got to stop making your racial picture more important than your human picture. And then we can do something about these ills. Then we can do something to establish ourselves. We have to first be established in our human form before we can be established in any other form in any good way. If you are not established in your human form, when you try to establish yourself in your racial form, you're going to establish a mess. And likewise, for any other form that you want to establish yourself in, if you are not established good in your human form, you make yourself a mess. And this whole country, tolerating the mistreatment of blacks for over 200 years, and tolerating a law in one part of the country that treated us like we were leopards with some kind of disease that if it came too close to other people, they would be diseased. Drink at the fountain of your own people, like you'll contaminate the water. Don't sit in this seat in the bus. Rosa Parks changed all that. Sit in these seats for the blacks. You can't eat at this counter. This counter's for white folks. Oh, the North wasn't guilty of that. Yes, the North was guilty of that. That should have bothered the North so much that the North wouldn't have tolerated it one day. Yes, I'm not asking for claps now, but thank you. I'm not asking for you to cheer me. Thank you, though. Yes. So we can't say we don't blame the North. No, they were playing games. And I'll tolerate you doing your thing as long as your thing ain't hurting my thing too much. But soon as the time for industrialization came and machinery, new machineries to replace the cotton workers, the cotton pickers, cotton gin was invented. These new things came, and they in the North didn't see where that situation down there was good for the North. It was bad for the North. The North put its minds on factories. So in order to develop our factories and increase our factories like we want, we got to get rid of that slavery down there with all those human machines picking cotton. Say we can make a cotton gin. We don't need them anymore. So let's change this thing. Oh, Abraham Lincoln freed us. Yeah, with a lot of economic pressure on him. And a lot of other things pressuring him. He freed us. No, you freed yourself by telling them this is enough. And then God gave you help by bringing in circumstances. Yes, to make the world a little more softer. You know, I was getting ready to dress up to come out here today, and I'm sorry to get off from my plan, but I have to tell you this. It fits so well. I was getting ready to dress to come out here today, and my mother used to dress me when I was a little boy, and she wanted to do it herself. I could dress myself, but for certain occasions, she wanted to put the finishing touches on it. And when she got me like she wanted, that her smile, she had a bright smile, bright gold teeth there, that gold teeth would be sparkling, that gold tooth would be sparkling, and she would be smiling, a bright smile, lighting up her black face. And she would say to me, "Now you're looking like I want you to look, my boy." And she would pick the tie and everything. So I kind of depend on that right now from a woman. And there was a young woman in the house with me today. What are you folks thinking? Good God Almighty. God Almighty. The world is so low you can't get up.
Yes. So we want to just say this. The program that I was alluding to that was on yesterday, and I said BBC 3, BBC 4, a man from the sun. A man from the sun. Yeah. And then that followed with other things. And it touched from 1949 up to now. And it just went about England and everything. You know, Brother David, yeah. You know, so there are things, and we mustn't leave our children them stranded. But now for those people that say, well, what was he talking about? He's talking about life. He's talking about life. Talking about society, talking about environment, talking about human beings, not racial disparities. We get high on that. Talking about life, talking about water. Water is life. And what's significant about water? It is used here to deflect from racial disparities and see that the Almighty, whether you believe in the one God or not, or whether you believe in a God, or creator or not, that all human beings exist with water and need water and cherishes water. Yes. And mountains distribute water, preserve and distribute water for us. But then we also have the River Nile that continues to flourish all these thousands and thousands of years and remove all this infirmities, vomits at the side, and continues the Nile. Now man want to interfere, which is this man, the Americans, and create problems between Egypt and Abyssinia, Ethiopia. You understand? So we are say life, and we are say the excellence of human beings and the excellence of ourselves. So if we can just look at ourselves and realize that this is the home that we have called Earth, and we are entitled. And who's this we though? We are the children of the slaves. And we're saying this in the diasporas. We're entitled to freedom, joy, and happiness. We're entitled for it. But we're not begging. We're highlighting to those who are witnessing, but we're informing ourselves. Most importantly. And we're not working with someone else's agenda. We're working with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty. And we're touching the souls and the heart, mind, and souls of people who are willing. And we ain't showing no disparity between those people who call themselves Christians and not. But we still have to tell them we don't understand who Jesus is. That name, what that represent. You see? So we won't stop doing that, because it's like knowing 1 + 1 is 2, and someone wants to say it's 3. So we have to tell them, say, no, it don't go so. And then show them how it becomes 2. Then the rest is up to them. It's not by compulsion, compulsory, not by force. You understand? It's by conveying a reason and an explanation. Take it or leave it. So the Almighty and those round about us cannot say that we didn't help one another. So there could be some persons that are steadfast like us in what we believe or how we live and everything. That's good. But once ensure dignity and respect with morals and principles to each other, that's very, very, very extraordinarily important. And that we are teach. And that's how we orchestrate our lives. That's why we can sit here and play to reggae music and say, it's my testament. May I use it that way because it's a protesting. And once you listen to the scripture from the pastor who has sing the song in the tune them, you will say, yo, that's logic, that's rational. They're not going to say, I heard it before, even though some will say that, but it brings a joy back to their conscience, to their minds. You understand? So that's what I advocate. That's what I think I'm trying to do. And I think I am doing. You know, whether it's reaching the right chords, right? That's, you know. So, Imam Worthy Muhammad, this is one of the sons, I'm going to play more of them as God willing, as we go along, is one of the sons of Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. This is the one that them call the hypocrite. This is the one that the Nation of Islam here in England, them man they call hypocrite too. They don't know nothing about him, only what them was told by others who call him a hypocrite. But you see what happened? You have to know a book, not by the cover, but from the intent of the book, the contents of the book. So them know so much about the white man and very little about ourselves. But yet still them can mark ourselves as hypocrite and docile and everything. But the white man is more superior, but at the same time is Yakub, this, that, and the other. You understand? It's very difficult to understand their reasoning. In some aspects, not all. But my father is not a hypocrite star. And this goes out to all of those supporters of everybody out there who is a NOI. He's not a hypocrite. And if you deem him, you people here in England, to be a hypocrite, check yourselves before, after you've done wreck yourself, check yourself and see where you came from. Sticks man and so. See where you come from. And everybody have them own darkness that them hid in their closet or wherever. So, and look up the word hypocrite. Look up the word hypocrite and try to digest it carefully before you continue to use those aspersions, because There is not another like him, neither is there another like Melchizedek Shabazz. But yes, your son or daughter is there. So is mine and others. So, how we are going to teach them? I don't like Rufuses, and I will never do. You understand? Rufus, roast breadfruit. I will never do. And they're ours. But we can try to help correct them. But through them so powerful within themselves and their friends, the people them that them lie with and move with, them feel strong with them. Them use them power against you. So you just have to highlight them and just leave them alone. Just keep your eye on them. I saw I was taught, and I saw I understand, and I saw I've experienced throughout my life. I have enough brethren and sisterins that we classified as Rufuses. And I say brethren and sisterins, you know. But we don't exchange things with them. We eat with them, reason with them, but as far as it go. Simple. How did I get like that? My mother. She said, after all, when I breathe here, when I eat here, keep that red rag behind your teeth. And don't give your pearls to them. And don't be beholden to them for anything. 'Cause if you want them to do something for you, you know say you're lost. So that's why we can call them my brethren and sisters still, you know. You understand? And we never pray that them bite the dust. That's not good either. And nothing stops us from saying, how you feel now. Because usually, their white boss, just chew them up and spit them out. Yeah. There's a lot of them on the streets of England that are living, but they're saying, if I only did know, and if I only listen. A lot of them. And there's others who are not on the street, but their conscience is killing them. Can't erase it like a hard drive. And even a hard drive, you can't erase nothing there. It's still there. Whatever the hell you did yesterday and last year and so forth, it's still there. So if a man can build something like that, and we have this in-scar life, and people say that they can do something and hide from the Almighty, does that mean that man is the Almighty and the computer hard drive that man has made is the Almighty too? Because I done told you, you can mash it up. And a person, my son, your son or daughter, can just grab that and know exactly what you did, where you went and everything. You cannot erase the hard drive. You can erase the program, but you can't erase the hard drive. The information, the data upon the hard drive. You can try doctor it all you want. But yet still, you don't have no fear for God. And yet man can make that. It's crazy, isn't it? Man make that one day. So, we are say, Imam Worthy Muhammad. I'm a father that. So, we are going on. Burning Spear.
New civilization.
Oh! I saw you on labor. Go ahead, wait. Hey, you. Hey, you over there. You. Hey, you, sir.
New civilization. New civilization. All over this land, all over this land. land, 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 all over this land, all over this land, 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 all over this land, over and over, yes. New civilization, new civilization, all over this land, 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 all over this land, all over this land, 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 all over this land. Tell it to them. Sing my song, my brother. Sing my song, my sister.
Oh, I
Smile
saw you on labor.
Go away, wait. Hey, you. Hey, you over there. You. Hey, you, sir.
Oh, I saw you on labor.
Go away, wait. Hey, you. Hey, you over there. You. Hey, you, sir.
Now follow no fashion, no fashion. You know love will Russian. Hey, what away? Oh, now go follow, now go follow, now go follow. Me say me nah follow no fashion, no. Jaman. Me say me nah go turn no yes man, no. If you're wrong, say you're wrong. Nah follow no fashion, no. German, on your love will Russian, yes. German, because the puss and the dog, they don't have the same luck. When one gone through, the next one gets stuck. Say what a man want to do, he's free, you see. But what is joke to you, sometimes it's serious to me. Set it, nah, follow no fashion, no. Watch it, nah, go turn no yes.
You see these people here? Them work with the evolution of man, you know. Because you see, it's teenagers, obviously, that are in the realm right now. So, misappropriate information can be given to them as factual information. And many of those same young people, relatives, have passed. Many are suffering from dementia or with dementia. But we not have no archives. And since we have not developed communities and infrastructure across England, it's but a handful that I work with on the behalf of our ancestors and us. Where are they going to get prominence from? We don't have no banking system. We don't have no economical control. We are still consumers. So that form of independence is what we never established for them. We are in a mess. And when you look on the Muslim and the Asian and other communities, our peoples, ethnic bodies in this country, and we are going about playing amusement, Three Lions and all of those things, and yet still, when push come to shove, we start to talk about what the man. Nah, you don't know which side of the fence you're upon. And love play cricket too much. Now you play now you want a football audience, and then you want to be validated by other than yourself, and then we are kill one another, we are drug up one another, we are disrespect with mama, disrespect with girl children, and killing and all kinds of nonsense of this nature. And then we have a whole heap of gatekeepers and fire people about the place. A confused people. So we don't know how to unravel and untangle all of this stuff. And yet still Garvey never had the light of this kind of medium. And yet still in paper them get all across the place, and more than 4,000 people is in receipt of. And we are walk about in our pocket, and women in their breasts with media control. And all the flat farms that's out there that some of us are not even aware of. A lot of children, a lot of people, a lot of elders are aware of. And they're sending all kind of messages here, there, and everywhere. Somebody over there sneeze, and they make people them know that Lana sneezed yesterday. And so on and so on. So, as we haven't been reflective of our past, and the people them come and interfere with our music and our producers and everything. And some of us went to bed with them, and now we're stuck. Guidance to gone.
Oh no.
I saw you on labor.
Go ahead, wait. Hey you over there. Hey you sir.
Oh no. Hey, Mr. Government, I said, hey, Mr. Government, employ me, yeah. No clothes to wear, no food to eat, not even shoes on my feet. Don't despise me, I beg you please. I'm a human, can't you see? I got up early this morning, saying that I'm gonna look a little world. Along the streets, I check both sides. To my surprise, I nearly commit suicide. Come on, hey, Mr. Government, I said, hey, yeah, Mr. Government. government employ me. Well, oh, well, I met a man of an official personality. So I said, good morning, sir. I'd like a word. Could you help me, please? He said, so I'm seeking work too. Yeah, Mr. Government Man. Yeah, please understand. I just left school the other day. I can't get a job, therefore I can't get a pay. Well, hey, Mr. Government, come on.
Yes, Mr. Upton James. So we are say guidance, God willing, maybe tomorrow. African history, never forgot it. Caribbean history, never forgot it. British experience, never leave it. Guidance.